me and Karl in the studio, if you go online, right, and then sort of email or text us requests, I'll carry stuff out. I'm mad enough to try. If you say to me, like, spit into the palm of your hand, then massage it in the Karl's little bald head, I'll do it. And then you'll be able to watch online as Karl tries to defend himself. That's just a suggestion. They might not say that. They might just say do a jig.
Children in need or something, where it's raising money. I'm not just doing it for the fun of...
Alright, and then I'll give £1 to, like, some charity.
Fair enough.
If you, because otherwise you're taking food from the mouths of children. If you're looking at the webcam now, and I don't think that you are, because I'm confident you're not, because I've been acting like a right ninny in here. I was, like, just stretching my legs out, right, doing sort of, like, putting my hands on the table and stretching my legs out. Karl goes, oh, I'll do that, because what is it you've got?
I've got, restless leg syndrome.
Right.
So I'll be in bed at night, everything's normal, I'm thinking I'm gonna have a good night's sleep and that.
Yeah.
And then,
sounds quite normal so far.
And then like, it gets to a point in the night where my legs just go mental.
Yeah,
and they start sort of kicking out, and my girlfriend's like, will you pack it in and that?
Yeah, God knows that poor woman's got enough to put up with being in bed with you in the first place. If I was her, I'd line up pillows between me and you just to form a boundary.
Well, my doctor said it's because I sort of ate too much ice cream.
That's his medical diagnosis. I don't reckon the doctor said the word ice cream to you. Did he?
I'm sure he said something about you've got too much sugar, so eating ice cream.
So he probably said something about glycemia or something like, all sounded all probably complex and medical. I can't, but he probably then had to keep translating it down and down and down till you could understand it, and then just say something about ice cream. Just say, stop eating ice cream, Karl. But just grew tired. Just wanted you out of surgery, probably in the end, wasting his valuable time. Probably wanted to get himself struck off rather than practice medicine anymore. Right? Anyway, that, leg kicking thing, as you know, and I'm a recovering heroin addict 3 years since I've taken heroin now. When you come off heroin, your legs all go like that. You're sort of trying to get to sleep or whatever, or you're just trying to do anything. Your legs all sort of kick out, lash out, and that is where the phrase kicking the habit comes from. You kick the habit, like, because when you get rid of your habit, your legs all kick out.
Kicking the habit.
Like that, yeah, it's awful business. So that's that phrase. Also, that's another thing you can send us, or text us on 640406, text us, how did phrases and bits of language come about?
I've got one. Right. I've read about this ages ago, so I might not get it perfect.
Well, even, I think if you would have read it, if you were sitting there now with the literature in front of you, I think as it went through your brain, it would just come out as a big pack of silly daft lies. What is it then? It was
something, you know that saying, chucking the baby out with the bathwater?
Don't chuck the baby out with the bathwater, meaning if you have, like, sort of a good idea, or like, you know, or an idea that's a bit dubious, so don't get rid of the whole idea, because you might lose, like, a pearl, something good within it, the baby out of the bathwater. Yeah, I've heard that phrase.
Well, it came from, like, years ago, right, because all these sayings are from, like, years ago, aren't they?
Yeah, of course.
And what it was, in the olden days, people used to have a bath, right, but because of the shortage of water, the whole family used to use the same water.
Yeah, that must have been unpleasant, wouldn't it? That's sort of, I think you'd end up, what if the person, your older brother or someone immediately senior to you is dirtier than you?
And this was the problem.
Right.
And because everybody who was working, got the rights to the clean water first. So, at the end of the day, right, the baby, that's done now, has it? That hasn't been out working.
It's not contributed anything.
So that got the bath at the end, right? And the water was that filthy that when they used to pour it out the window, at the end,
they might not notice.
The baby was still in it. And they used to sort of chuck the baby out, and they go, oh no, I didn't see it in there, because the water was, like, filthy.
You reckon that happened so many times that it eventually became a phrase after the 50th or 60th baby?
I listened to your stuff.
Yeah, because my one was grounded in facts, though, wasn't it?
Said, I'll give you the full story. Little baby.
I mean, that might be, they don't. I mean, but that's not illuminating, isn't it? Because it's obvious, even if you don't know that bit of apocryphal rhubarb that you just spouted, it's still obvious, like, that means, don't chuck the baby out with the bathwater. Like, I don't reckon that it actually used to frequently happen, like, to peasant families.
Well, it must have happened a lot to get a saying going, surely. A saying's got to be said again and again. It's like Little Britain. You know, saying, oh, I'm the only guy in the village. If you only said that once,
by now it'd have
been forgotten about. So there's a lot of babies, a lot of dirty babies knocking about outside bathroom windows and that.
Seemingly so.
But anyway, if you got any sayings and that, because I like learning stuff, so if people want to send some stuff in on email, russell.sixmusic@bbc.co.uk, and
or you can text us it as well, or phone us up.
Texting that would take ages, wouldn't it?
Oh, I don't know how people manage with it. It's going to make it arthritic.
Let's play some music and that anyway. I like this one.
Alright.
Yeah.
So who's that girl that... BBC Six Music. That was Blondie, Dreaming. That has got sort of a festive connotations. Just them chimes in the background makes it sound sort of a little bit Christmassy, don't it? We've got a text message from Roy from Liverpool. He wants us to play Frosty the Snowman Cocteau Twins version. Have we got it, Carl?
I've just been like having a quick look through here on the computer.
He's rummaging through it.
It's not in any sort of order, this.
Right,
They loaded them in, couldn't get a job in, like, HMV.
Right.
It's all...
Just randomly put in there.
It's just random, yeah.
Makes your job a lot more difficult. Okay, so, you know, we were talking about phrases and etymology and the root of certain phrases and stuff. We talked about kicking the habit coming from when your legs all kick when you're coming off heroin. Carl made up some mumbo-jumbo about chucking babies out with bathwater. We've got a text message here from Rich C. He says that the word nonce, right, came from this. He goes, the word nonce used to be written outside vulnerable, in inverted commas, prisoners' cells to warn officers to keep them away from fellow inmates on the prison yard, and means not on normal circulatory exercise. Not on normal circulatory exercise. Nonce. That's good, isn't it? That's where the phrase nonce comes from, Carl. So when people shout at you in the street, nonce, as I know they're prone to do, you can now know. We say, well, actually, I'm allowed to perambulate in the yard with all the other jailbirds. Also, we've got another text message here. In 1981, I was in a band called Ultraviolet at school. Crap name, no songs. I'm now an environmental policeman. Still crap name and no songs. Duncan from Birmingham. Ultraviolet, I think that's an alright name.
What's an environmental policeman?
I suppose he just sort of stands by ponds. If you see someone with like a barrel of diesel rolling towards it, like whistling, all suspicious, like Boise from Fools and Horses, just go, oi, pack it in, don't go rolling that in. I suppose he polices the environment, doesn't he? I don't know.
Is that something new?
It sounds like it, doesn't it? It sounds like sky marshals. You know, like if you're on an airplane and like there's sky marshals, like, you know, sort of to prevent there being any acts of terror or anything. Apparently they dress in normal clothes. They don't dress up like superheroes like they should, but you know, this is a new job.
So it's just like all this, how people are sort of worrying about the end of the world and all that.
It's quite rightly, because Armageddon seems to be approaching, you know, rapidly, Carl, isn't it?
What
were you saying earlier, that there's a meteorite plummeting towards the Earth?
Yeah, apparently I mean, I don't want to worry people on that.
I think you already have done. I think the minute people hear your morose vocal tones, they start to think, oh God, is life worth living? But go on,
well, we'll talk about it later, because it's, you know...
Alright, okay. Alright, well then let me just clear up this final text message. Rory reckons that he saw me talking to a blue scouse head on television. That's abstract, isn't it? Rory's text messages, he's entered into a new Dadaist phase of texting now. He's evolved. Before he was doing just quite literal text, just communicating information, talking about, oh, I'm on a bus.
Does he mean those drummers? Have you met them? With the blue heads?
The Blue Man Group. I've not done it. I mean, I saw you talking to a blue scouse head on the television. I haven't done that ever. You know, it's madness. And then that final text message here, this is from, well, actually it's from someone anonymous, but their point is a good one. We know I was talking about, because I've got a really interesting point to make about how collectively we're more powerful and intelligent than we are individually. Seems obvious, but wait till I give you this example. It's really brilliant. This text message says, collective anything is better than just sitting on your own all day, although private intellectual stuff is cool too. Performance, I reckon, should be democratised, because at the moment it's not. Street theatre is cool for that. I do a little bit of that. Never knew Beta Band were that good. Oh, they are that good. Carl, what do you think about street theatre? Is it something you're into?
What do you mean, just like jugglers and that?
Yeah, well, yeah, jugglers. Yeah, mate, jugglers.
It annoys me a little bit in London, because it's overcrowded as it is, do you know what I mean? Without people clogging up the pavements, sort of throwing stuff in the air.
Yeah, that's it, it's a hazard.
It's clever and everything, but there's a time and a place.
What about those people that paint themselves gold and just stand perfectly still as a job? They're in Covent Garden.
Just getting in the way. You know, we've got enough statues, you know, proper ones, without people pretending to be. Do you know what I mean? If we sort of had this problem of statues dying out, I'd say paint someone gold and stand them still, but we've got loads of statues, haven't we?
Because before you get to that, you'd say, let's just make some more statues. Because I'm not criticising anyone that does that, you know, because perhaps that's what this guy does, right? Does, you know, street theatre and stuff, and I don't want to seek to criticise him. But, like, I think that before, I'd have a few more options before I got to the point where I thought, right, I'm going to paint myself gold, like that woman at the beginning of Goldfinger, stand in the street perfectly still.
She died, didn't she?
She died. Those are the risks. So maybe these people should be applauded, Carl. That was Japan and Gentlemen Take Polaroids. This is BBC Six Music. I'm Russell Brand here with Karl Pilkington, standing in 4 on the moan, because, 3 hours of work a day is apparently too much for that woman, is what it seems like. We've got, Philip Salon on the phone now. Now, Philip Salon was present at the dawn of the era of punk. He was friends with Malcolm McLaren and Vivienne Westwood, and therefore John Lydon, Sid Vicious, everybody. And he's been present, in fact, through most important musical movements in the last 3 decades, and is a prominent character in the musical Taboo. Is on the phone now. Hello, Philip, how are you?
Good evening.
I see you're in fine spirits, are you?
I'm not, I'm bitter and twisted.
Why are you bitter and twisted?
I don't know, I hate Christmas. But anyway, New Year's coming, which isn't all bad.
So I suppose you enjoy that a little bit more. You're Jewish, aren't you? So you've got no reason.
Christmas is a time of taking. Well, anyway, so I hope you had a nice Christmas.
Well, it was alright, but you've just soured the whole idea of Christmas for me a little bit.
I had my nice Christmas glass of vinegar anyway, that was nice.
Well, you sound embittered. So tell me, Philip, we want, me, Carl, and our listeners would like to know a little bit about, you were saying, to me once that you used to compare gigs when the Sex Pistols were playing.
When the Sex Pistols played one of their really early, performances, I don't like that word gig, but anyway.
Why not?
Well, it just sounds a bit cliche, doesn't it? Anyway,
you just come on the phone and went, oh, ducky, oh, hello, I'll make mine a large one, and then said that the word gig sounds cliched, with all your camp lunacy.
So, anyway, so when they did an early performance, this was at the Screen on the Green. It was before it was called punk. It was right at the beginning of about 1976, end of 75, beginning of 76. And Malcolm asked me to kind of introduce them on, every time they did a song on stage, I'd kind of dance around them, and then I'd introduce the next song. But I was dressed up in my mum's dressing gown.
Did they mind you doing that?
With all her hair colours in and bedroom slippers, and I stripped off the pink hot pants.
Crikey.
Yeah, with a bib. But anyway, it did look quite odd, I have to tell you.
How did the boys respond to you dancing around in your mum's house coat?
I don't know, they particularly cared, actually.
I suppose that's the nature of the Sex Pistols, is they had that air of indifference to almost everything.
I know, but the weird thing was that the audience was 95% kind of dirty old hippies at that time, and there was about 10 people in the audience that were kind of up-and-coming punks. It was Susie Sue and Billy Idol, I think he was there, I can't remember, and about 8 other people, and that was it. They were about the only punks in inverted commas in London, actually.
Were you into punk yourself, Philip?
Pardon?
Were you into punk yourself?
I didn't like calling it that, you know what I mean? It's I'd been through that hippie thing, and I actually, at that time I was ignorant enough to believe that if you were wearing something, you became part of some mystic group if you were wearing these clothes. And then by the time punk came along, I thought, well, I'm just in clothes, I'm not part of any stupid group because I've got the same clothes on as some retard in King's Road.
Did Vivienne Westwood dress them, did she?
Yeah, I mean, she created the whole thing, really. I mean, it was just a fashion victim experience, wasn't it, really?
So,
I mean, it was a bit like it's not exactly like Pop Idol, but it had that feel of being I mean, it was a manufactured boy band, wasn't it, really? If you think about it. I know it sounds an awful thing to say when it's also cool and streety, but it wasn't streety. If you work out how things have gone up in price, what people spent on those clothes at that moment in time, it was phenomenal, really, for people who were meant to be kind of not working class, give us 10p.
Yeah, but I don't think working class people go around saying, give us 10p. Now, Philip, what I wanted to ask you is, that John Lydon would say, though, that whole movement was representative of an ideology, and the clothes he wore were sort of old bits of rubbish that he found in the street and stuff like that. He wouldn't say, I was doled up in safety pins that Vivienne Westwood made, would he?
Well, but he was, though, wasn't he, really? Although I heard he was the innovator of safety pins. I mean, he wore all their bondage stuff and all that stuff, but I mean, he did embellish that one. I think that was the one thing he did invent, was safety pins, basically, as far as I know. Did it
at the time feel like a sort of an ideological movement, or do you think...
No, it did not. It was just what's fashionable at King's Road at this moment in time.
Right, just wearing little, pork pie hats and stuff like that. Yeah,
exactly, because it was kind of, it just wasn't... I mean, the look was kind of all this street kind of. I hate that word working class, because anyone who works is working class. You know what I mean? You could run a business and still be working class because you work.
Listen, let's not get into class structure, Philip. That's a very complicated argument.
Yeah,
what I want to know is, did you meet Nancy Spungen, and was she a terrible influence?
I think actually, I mean, it was Sid Vicious really that was one. I can remember in about